What's going on? What's crack-a-lacking, my peoples? My peoples, how you doing? I'm Jerry Quickley, and this is happening. Couldn't be happier joining us today because today it is election day in these United States of America and all over the country. People have gone to the polls, and in fact, starting at 3 o'clock, the polls started closing in parts of Indiana and Kentucky, and at 4 o'clock, polls began to close in larger swaths of America, including Georgia, North Carolina, most of Florida, et cetera. So as the results come in, we will offer them, but the results are really just going to, exit poll data is just going to start to trickle in over the course of this hour, and we're going to do this together, y'all all. We're going to take, today we're not going to be running National Native News, and we are going to be joined over the phone from Georgia by the one and only Greg Palast, who's down there monitoring events in Georgia. All that and more. But first up, we're going to take a really super short break. When we come back, we'll talk with Greg Palast, and when we come back, we'll talk with Greg Palast and get into the U.S. elections. Be right back. What's going on? What's crack-a-lacking, my peoples? My peoples, welcome back to the show. It's November 6, 2018, Election Day, a critical election. Are we going to descend into a new round of Klan-driven violence directed against everyone who's not essentially a Christian white male, and particularly if they're not a wealthy Christian white male? Are we going to slide back to the horror of our past, or are we going to begin to realize this is something you must deal with? Are we going to grab the bull by the horns in this election? Or are we going to push ourselves further to the brink of some type of violent political crisis? I should even say that, an expansion of the currently violent political crisis. We're taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. Again, that's 818-985-KPFK. And to give you an idea on just what's at stake during this election, we're going to play a clip. This is Trump at a campaign rally just 2 days ago calling for violence against a group of people he considers his political opponents, Antifa. This is Trump calling for biker violence. This is a sitting president of the United States using the loudest and biggest bully pulpit on the planet to call for violence against his perceived political enemies.
You've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen it. Antifa. They take the helmet off and they take the armbands, and you see these little arms, And then they see the clubs in their hands. You know, they're tough guys, right? Where are the bikers for Trump? Where are the police? Where are the military? Where are the ICE? Where are the Border Patrol? No. We've taken a lot. We've taken a lot, folks.
Yeah, we've taken a lot. So that he's aggrieved, right? We've put up with so much. These black bastards with their big lips, all they want is to do things like vote. They want the same type of health care for their children as is given to white children. Yeah. A demand to be treated like human beings. How shocking. That was a sitting president of the United States calling for violence against a perceived political enemy. And if you listen, he also elevated common street thug violent bikers if they use their violence in service of Trump's targeting of his political enemies. Trump lists violent bikers alongside the police, the military, ICE, border enforcement, sheriffs, because this is a chance for violent white felons to be embraced by the system. Because if you employ your violence for Trump, you're doing the country a service. I want to play that clip again, because I honestly do not believe that this is not the only story that's being focused on by mainstream media. Let's give a listen to this clip again. This is Trump at a Trump rally 2 days ago calling for biker violence against Antifa.
You've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen it. Antifa. They take the helmet off and they take the armbands, and you see these little arms, And then they see the clubs in their hands. You know, they're tough guys, right? Where are the bikers for Trump? Where are the police? Where are the military? Where are the ICE? Where are the Border Patrol? No. We've taken a lot. We've taken a lot, folks.
The implication being that aggrieved, angry white racists, they've taken a lot, they've taken too much, and at this point they can't possibly be expected to take any more. So where does that leave us? Oh, circle back to the top of his comment: violence against your political enemies. This is what the President of the United States is preaching from the bully pulpit of POTUS. We're taking your calls here this hour, 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. I want to give a listen to this next clip. And in this clip, this is from Greg Palast, who's going to be joining us in just a few minutes here on the show. And this is an interview that Greg Palast did with a 92-year-old voter in Georgia. And I believe it was with her granddaughter, who was beside herself, that this 92-year-old woman was not being allowed to vote. Let's give a listen to Greg Palast's field interview with this 92-year-old Georgia voter.
Has this ever happened to you before?
Never.
How long you been voting?
All my life, ever since I was old enough. But I didn't vote right here ever since 1968.
And it's horrible. And I say that because the West End, she's been in this community back when they were doing sit-ins. She held civil rights meetings in her home. And today to come out and not be able to vote and no one can give you an explanation, like, it's extremely emotional and it bothers me. It bothers me to my core. Like, there's actually no record of her whatsoever voting in any election whatsoever, and it's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that is a story that repeated itself over 1 million times across the state of Georgia, and the people being targeted surgically are black people, working class whites likely to vote Democrat, students, and people of color, other people of color. Surgically targeted in a state the size of Georgia. If you remove 1 million votes from your opponent, and you do this in the open for us all to see and dare us to call you out, I think what the Republicans are essentially doing is demanding there be some that they will push us as a country to a point of political violence and violent political retribution, because that's what's happening now. The only difference is it's completely one-sided, and it's not being checked at all. You have a bunch of wealthy, racist, white male reactionaries in the form of U.S. Congress who have made a deal with Donald Trump. And the deal is very straightforward and very simple and very obvious. The deal is, as long as you deliver on looting the country for me and my friends, we in return will suspend all applications of law, criminal and civil, against you and everyone in your family. Do you really think that this is the first time in history that a country, that a government, that a monarchy has been faced with this type of treason? This is the oldest story there ever was. If you let me loot this country, I will allow you to loot as well, because I will suspend all applications of criminal and civil laws against you and every member of your family. It is corruption in its simple, most basic, venal, and poisonous form. We're taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. And I'm so happy that we're going to take a really short break. We'll be right back after this break with Greg Palast. What's going on? It's Crack-a-lack, my peoples. Well, back to the show. I'm Jerry Quickley, and this is happening. We have Greg Palast on the line, joining us live and direct from Georgia. Greg, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What's the dealio?
Whoa! All I can tell you is I'm back in the refuge of Westtown in Atlanta, where we're listening to Aretha Franklin, and there's a block party doing a watch. As the polls are closing right now. And I got to tell you, Jerry, this is in 18 years of reporting, I've never seen vote suppression, vote theft, vote crushing, vote stealing on this level. I was in Florida. I was in Ohio. I've been in the worst. And Georgia right now, it's not 2018, it's 1958. It is bad. I was in the polls this morning, a 92-year-old African-American woman. Her name is Christine Jordan, 92 years old. She went in, she's voted every election at the same polling station. She first voted the year Martin Luther King was assassinated. They said her registration just went poof, vanished. No record of her ever having
We just
voted.
played your audio from her, featuring that elderly woman who was denied the right to vote.
It's unbelievable. And then I don't know if you played the audio of Raheem Shabazz, the great Atlanta filmmaker who wrote Elementary Genocide. He's really the expert on the schools to prison pipeline. And this is a very sophisticated cat. And
yeah, we're going to play that in just a moment.
Yeah. But just so you know, this guy he found out only because I sued Brian Kemp and got the list of the people he purged from the voter rolls, 500,000 names, put it up on my website. If it weren't for that, Raheem wouldn't know he was purged. The problem is that while thousands of people, I only had it up a couple days before the end of registration, so thousands of people were able to re-register. Raheem just missed it. He found out about it after he re-registered. Said, "Oh, we can't verify your registration for 3 weeks. You don't get to vote in this election." So they gave him one of these provisional ballots. And you have to understand, a provisional ballot, the Secretary of State gets to decide whether it gets counted. The Secretary of State is Brian Kemp, Stacey Abrams' opponent. So Brian Kemp gets to determine whether Stacey Abrams votes. They figure 30 to 50,000 provisional ballots. Kemp gets to decide whether those votes get counted, and he's already said they won't.
Greg, how is it that we have ended up in a place where the Republicans are so hideously, relentlessly, and continuously successful at voter suppression? With the range of resources on the left and the range of resources that we can make available to pursue and correct this, how is it that the Republicans have successfully defeated all of the progressive efforts to mitigate or eliminate their voter suppression? Why are we losing in the courts?
Well, one of the things that happens is that they're remaking the courts. And remember, the voting cops are the voting rights division of the Justice Department, and the head of the Justice Department is Jeff Beauregard Sessions. So you try to call the voting cops on these guys, and you're calling Sessions, who says we don't even need a Voting Rights Act. Well, he doesn't need it. That's correct. And so the voting cops have been called off the beat. They're basically in the control of the vote thieves. The second is, of course, I mean, I hate to bring it up again, I won't say the Democratic Party is being silent, because Stacey Abrams is a Democrat, but she was one of the first major politicians to talk about my work and my investigations of interstate cross-check. She actually helped me with my investigation here in Georgia. She's very unusual for a Democratic politician in two ways. One, she cares about voter suppression, and two, she's a black female and running for governor. It just doesn't happen. I mean, it's the first time that the Democratic Party has actually nominated a black female for governor. That's another thing. If she gets elected, she'll be the first black female governor, but they've never nominated one in the Democratic Party. And so the Democrats have been silent, and that's really, really damaging. And then third, the other thing is our fourth estate, which is the media. The Atlanta Journal, when I sued Brian Kemp and got the purge list and had experts determine, dig this, I hired 4 teams of experts to go, using computers, go name by name through the list to see if people who were purged, they were purged for moving out of their county or moving out of Georgia, if they had moved. And they said, we can absolutely tell you, and we'll verify and provide an affidavit to a federal judge saying 340,134 voters were wrongly removed for having moved out of the state when they are still right here at the addresses that they registered at. 340,134 voters, none of them have gotten a notice.
Wow.
None of them have gotten a notice that they lost their vote. They show up and they get these provisional ballots, and they can, right down the drain.
Wow. Greg, what is certainly I strongly encourage everyone to get out and vote today, regardless of how they're voting. But where do we go from here? If this is, you've been covering this has essentially been your beat for 20 years, and the Republican fiasco the fiasco that's been created by this Republican voter suppression has only gotten worse. How is it? Because it makes me so goddamn angry at the Democrats. Like, you feckless, spineless losers. In 20 years, not only haven't you gotten on top of this and fixed it, it's worse. How are the Democrats ruining this? Why can't they protect our goddamn votes?
Or their votes, actually. That's the great irony. I mean, you had Eric Holder, who pretty much sat on his hands as Attorney General. You had Barack Obama, and, by the way, when I was writing for Rolling Stone about vote suppression, my co-writer has Obama's phone number, so he calls him up and said, "Do you know about it?" He knew everything. But he said, his view was you just overwhelm the steal. Now, Stacey Abrams is going both ways. Number one, she's calling it out. This is brand new. All her Democratic Party advisors said, don't talk about vote suppression. It'll stop people from voting. You're just going to scare people away from voting. Hasn't scared people away from voting. I go down through this end of Atlanta, and block after block says, this block has voted 100%. This block has voted 100%. You have never seen turnout like this. Nothing. So people are angry and energized. Raheem Shabazz said, they took away Brian Kemp took away my vote, but what I'm going to do is make sure 10 other people vote for Stacey Abrams. And so they've energized the vote. Now, but the Democrats have never seen that. They've never seen that it gets people angry when democracy is defeated. And by the way, here's some good news. Chris Kobach of Kansas, the Purgeon General of the United States, the right-wing freak that Trump made head of his vote fraud commission. Okay, he may lose tonight because he's running for governor. He stole the Republican primary from a fellow Republican. The governor, now he's another one, just like Brian Kemp. He's Secretary of State, and he's running for governor, and he's counting the votes. And he's the guy that moved that polling station from in Dodge City out into Utah. And but so many Republicans are actually disgusted by this that they're crossing over, and there's a very good chance that Kobach, who's the Republican candidate, has gone too far with the vote theft. Americans really actually, believe it or not, most Americans prize democracy, and he might get voted out of office because people are fed up with it. Even Republicans are getting sick of it.
Wow.
So, there's a light, and plus this turnout is insane. Can they overcome the steal? 340,134 voters. If you go to gregpalast.com, you can see these clips of these voters. You can see Raheem. You can see Christina Jordan, the 92-year-old woman who lost her vote. You'll see I also was with Ashley Jones. She's the American melting pot story, white, Latina, and African American. And she tried twice to register. They never accepted her registration. She comes in. She's going to be stuck with a provisional ballot. They try to deny her that, but I walked in and started talking about the federal law, and I said, and we have a whole bunch of television cameras with us, just, by the way, not from American mainstream. We're talking BET, Black Entertainment Television. We're talking The Guardian. We're talking Salon. We're talking Rolling Stone. And but still with the TV cameras there, they suddenly at least gave her provisional ballot, which we now have to fight to get counted. So, it's bad, but people are energized.
Yeah, super energized. They need to be. They should be. I don't know what's available to us if the Republicans were to win today and retain control of Congress. We wouldn't have seen anything from Trump yet. Trump would be unleashed and unhinged. There would be blood running in the streets tomorrow if the Republicans won, because Trump's already calling for political violence and has been calling for it for over 2 years now.
Jerry, I would have said, frankly, 2 weeks ago, I'd have said that's hysterical. But now that I've been in Georgia, I think otherwise. And to tell you the truth, I was at the Trump-Kemp rally in Macon, Georgia on Sunday. And I was taking selfies. Needless to say, I was in disguise. Thank God I was only recognized after I left on the outside. And they said, "That's that bad man from Noonan." Because Kemp had me arrested, by the way, in Noonan, Georgia, because I tried to ask him a question he didn't want to answer. I'm not making that up.
It has nothing to do with you being a Jew?
They just said, took one look at me, Hollywood Jew. And the two guys at Smokey the Bear hats grabbed me, but then they let me go. But the main thing was to keep Brian Kemp from having to answer any questions.
Of course.
But here's the thing. I was at this rally. I am taking selfies. So I'm in disguise with my MAGA outfit. And I'm taking selfies with these guys from the Proud Boys, the white supremacist group, with violent white supremacist group. And they're doing selfies. They're putting out the white power sign. The whole place was Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, QAnon, InfoWars. Three Percenters. If you know the names of these ultra right groups that we've been tracking out of my office. And it wasn't a few people in that crowd. It was the crowd. The crowd was frightening. And then Trump comes in, and he was talking about frightening. So these Antifa people, they got, they take off their shields. They got little skinny arms. Where are my bikers for Trump? We know how to kick ass. He was literally inviting them to kick ass. And I'm thinking, I better,
Yeah, we played a clip of that just early. He's literally calling for bikers to commit violence against people, American citizens that he perceives to be his political enemies.
Well, I kind of repositioned myself near an exit, and they have a lot of black patrolmen that had to watch this thing. But I got Air Force One behind me, and it looks like they did everything but burn a swastika and a cross. And Kemp comes up there on the stage. And, they know that they can't win if they count the votes. But it's a new form of hysteria. And my still photographer, Zach Roberts, is just watching his amazing films from Charlottesville. And, one of the white supremacists that was running the Charlottesville horror show said to him on camera, if it weren't for this president, we could never have held this rally in Charlottesville. We could never do this. Any other president, we wouldn't be able to even meet, But, now we feel like we have protection and encouragement. If that makes you feel happy, I don't know. It is frightening. And when And you've got guys like Brian Kemp talking about, I mean, his if you go to gregpalast.com, you see my little 7-minute piece for Salon called The Story Behind the Steal in Georgia. And I've got Brian Kemp commercials. He's got, I've got a big truck to round up illegals. I've got my shotgun. They ain't going to take it away. I got my chainsaw. I mean, and he's taken the South back to 1958. That's the line here. It's New South. You know, Jimmy Carter was governor, you know.
See, but the crazy part is this is literally a racist white man's fantasy, because back in the 50s, they could treat people of color, Jews, LGBTQ community, women, any old way they wanted. Their fantasy is that the rest of us will return to our place in the 50s and stare at the ground as they walk by. The ridiculousness, the ungettability of this fantasy is it's beyond consideration on Earth. But nonetheless, this is a persistent fantasy that is embraced by white racists.
It is. Unfortunately, they now have a voice. They now have a president. You know, who would have ever thought these people would be cheering Air Force One coming in? And who would have thought that the president of the United States would be cheering these people? That's disheartening. And then I go out to the polling stations. I don't care how many people they can throw 92-year-old women out of the vote. They can throw filmmakers. They can throw literally 300,000 people off the voter rolls. In the end, they can't stop the tide of history. And that's what you feel like is. And I'm saying that not to try to like sugarcoat what's happening, but you have to understand, you know, people that I see, they ain't going back. You know,
right.
They ain't going back.
Right, exactly. We're not going back. I understand racist white men and racist white women want that to happen, but that requires the rest of us to consent to getting in your goddamn racist time machine, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's all that they have to offer, because, you know, like you go to these places, you could see the damage these people that half their teeth gone. You see the meth addicts cheering on Trump. It's so weird. I can't tell you. But, you know, at some point they're going to understand their own real interest, you know.
Right.
You know, do you want to whack that black guy over the head, or do you want to have medical care? You know,
well, but so far, as long as you promise to deny something to black people, racist whites are down for it. I don't need no goddamn Medicare if it means that nigger going to get a bad date for free.
But, you know, the Democrats have not had a clear message on any of this, and that's been one of the problems. So it allows Republicans to say, it allows Trump to say, I'm going to give you something better than Obamacare. When you don't say everyone gets Medicare because everyone loves Medicare, you put yourself in a very bad position. Well, Jerry, I've got to go because I've got some purge voters.
Hey, Greg, thanks for checking in, man. I really appreciate you joining us today, and thanks for the good work you're doing. We'll check in with you later on this week, and we'll see if we're all standing after the election, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep safe. Remember, I'm alive here, and I'm talking to you for one good reason, Jerry. I'm a coward. Go to gregcallis.com and see if you're on the purge list and watch the film.
There it is. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate hearing from you. We are taking your calls this hour at 818-985-5735. Again, that's 818-985-KPFK. Let me see. I want to play this audio that Greg and I talked about. This features a filmmaker in the Atlanta area who was illegally purged and denied his right as an American citizen to vote. Let's give a listen to this clip. This is Greg Palast doing his work down in Georgia.
This is Raheem Shabazz. His voter registration was canceled.
I won't be able to vote for the November 6th election.
Canceled, along with the registrations of more than 340,134 other Georgians, all based on faulty information. Who canceled all these Georgians' right to vote?
And he is somebody that will be a great governor of Georgia. Brian Kemp, please come.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is Greg Palast reporting from the Trump rally in Macon, Georgia.
You put Stacey in there, And you're going to have Georgia turn into Venezuela. I don't.
Kemp is running for governor while he's also running the election as Georgia's Secretary of State. How could Kemp purge all these voters? Kemp claims he sent each one a postcard. Raheem says otherwise.
I never received a postcard from Brian Kemp, Secretary of State, or none of that.
He only found out he lost his vote by looking at this reporter's website.
I went on gregpalace.com website, and lo and behold, my name is there.
Then I showed Raheem the cards Kemp claims he sends. And they sent it to his old address just down the road, even though he changed his address on his driver's license.
But I will receive a parking ticket. You know, I received my title for my car from the DMV that has my address on it. They know where I'm at. They know where to find me. It's not hard.
Kemp claims not returning the postcard proves Raheem left Atlanta or left Georgia entirely.
I never left the state of Georgia. I never left the county. My license has me in the same county, so all they had to do was look at my DMV record and they would see that I live in the same county.
But Kemp never checks his own state DMV, not even the post office when canceling voters' rights. But he does check your voting record. If you miss the postcard and miss 2 elections, Kemp says that's absolute proof you've moved.
I didn't vote in the last 2 elections. That is very problematic because you have a constitutional right to vote and a constitutional right not to vote, right?
He's absolutely right. The National Voter Registration Act says that voting is a fundamental right, and you cannot lose your vote for not voting. But the law does allow Kemp to cleanse the voter rolls of those who've moved from Georgia.
I wouldn't call it cleansing the voting roll. I would call it ethnic cleansing.
Back at the Trump-Kemp rally, that doesn't bother them.
2016, there was a lot of cheating going on there. There were millions of votes voted by, I call them illegal aliens. They voted. Why is that? And I'll tell you something about this Stacey Abrams chick. She is a puppet. She's a puppet.
The Palace Investigative Fund is suing Brian Kemp to find out exactly why he's purged Raheem and the other voters. Raheem is not discouraged.
You took 1 vote away, but Stacey Abrams is going to get 10 more because I'm going to bring 10 more people out to vote.
This is Greg Palast in Georgia reporting. And if you want more information on the purges and on the lawsuit, go to gregpalast.com.
We're taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Looking for your Election Day stories. What are your fears? What are your concerns? And mostly, what are your hopes? What do you want to see happen? How different would you like America to be? If you could wave a magic wand, forget all the people who told you things aren't possible. Okay, because they have safe, affordable housing in Canada. They have it largely in Great Britain. They have it in France. They have it in Germany. They have it all over Western Europe. Who told you and made you believe that safe, affordable housing, regardless of your level of income, who told you that safe, affordable housing is not a human right? Who told you that being educated, not just in kindergarten, not just in junior high or high school, who told you that receiving a college education is something that you are personally, financially responsible for? You. And if you can't figure it out, you big black bastard, good luck at McDonald's. Who told you that, and why did you believe it? If you could wave a magic wand, what do you want? I don't know. I think affordable housing, and by affordable housing, both for people and families that are do not want to currently own an apartment, safe, affordable rentals, safe, affordable houses for people to buy and own, free college education. Oh, by the way, this is not some crazy hippie radical thing. This happened all over America. 1950s, 60s, 40s, wake of World War II, free college throughout California. Y'all all remember that? Y'all all remember that? You better go talk to your auntie and your granddaddy. the UC system was free. Free. And the minute we decided we're going to roll up the plank, the minute we said, nah, we don't need to be free anymore, that was the minute that we cut off, the minute we charged a dime, is the minute we began to cut people off of a ladder from poverty to a better life. And the more we charge, the more people we cut off from that ladder. It's an obscenity. It can't be allowed. There's a $6 trillion transfer of wealth happening right now, masquerading as a tax cut, and 83% of that $6 trillion goes to the top 1%. That's a $5 trillion transfer of wealth over 10 years. Let's do the math. $5 trillion over 10 years. That's $500 billion a year that is being transferred from the pockets of the poor and the working class to the top 1% of this country. $500 billion a year. That means every day when you got up today, we all had to throw together our loot and cough up $1.5 billion today. And tomorrow we got to cough up another $1.5 billion. And you and I collectively will have to cough up $1.5 billion a day for the next 10 years to the wealthiest 1% of America. And you just sit there. That disgusts me. We must take action. We must move collectively. We must identify exactly what it is we want. That's why I said, if you were in power, what do you want? You must be able to articulate exactly what our demands are. I think safe, affordable housing. I think health care as a right that does not cost any money. I think education as a right and a demand that police stop murdering people with disabilities and people of color and poor whites in the street. If you have a political program that does not address police violence against communities of color, shut your goddamn mouth. You're worthless because black lives don't matter to you. Taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Trending good news coming in from Florida. It looks like Andrew Gillum, Democratic candidate for governor of Florida, is leading strongly DeSantis by more than 5 percentage points. It's going to be very difficult for DeSantis, who is a clone racist like Trump. It's been very difficult for him to make up that ground. DeSantis is, of course, famous for saying once Gillum won, like, hey, people of Florida can't monkey this up by choosing this black bastard. And now DeSantis is hopefully being able to being made to pay for his horrific racism. Take your calls, 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. First up, let's talk to Jason calling from Lake Forest. Jason, welcome to the show. What's the dealio? Hey, you with us, Jason? I guess not. Next up, let's try talking to Mike calling from Claremont. Mike, welcome to the show. What's the dealio?
Hey, Jerry. Thanks for taking my call. How long do I have?
30 seconds or less, buddy. We're going to do a speed round.
Okay. So all I want to say is I'm a moderate. I am a fiscal conservative, social liberal. Don't care who you love. Don't care what you do. Just do what you want. With that being said, I voted no new taxes, and I voted except for the taxes that are going to give the homeless their housing, because if they can't live on the streets and everybody doesn't want them on the streets, give them a house. So I voted for that tax. That's the only thing. Everything else, go. Blue wave, here we go.
There you go. Thanks for the call, buddy. Appreciate hearing from you. Taking your calls at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Next up, let's give a listen to this clip. This is Trump at a rally earlier today, where he's just making it clear, I'm a big old racist.
As we speak, Democrats are openly encouraging millions of illegal aliens to violate our laws and break into our country, and they want to sign them up for free welfare, free health care, free education, and, of course, the right to vote. The right to vote. And it's the right to vote that they like the best.
Yeah, of course, because
they want them to be able to vote.
Yeah, because if Trump is defeated, it's not that there was a significant amalgam, coterie, conflagration, if you will, of American voters who said enough with your racist crap and your looting. We've had enough. No, if someone says no to Trump, it's not white people. It's those filthy, dirty hordes coming across whatever imaginary border we have. When you go and set up a resort on someone's land and then you tell them that they're trespassing, yeah, they didn't cross the border crossed them. Taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. I'm Jerry Quickley. This is happening. And let's give a listen to this clip. This is Obama, and this is and he's a little. You can hear he's kind of hoarse. He's been out on the road, flogging it for a couple weeks now, and you can hear his voice is cracking. Let's give a listen to Obama, essentially talking about how he believes who we are as a people is actually what's on the ballot.
The character of this country is on the ballot. Who we are is on the ballot. What kind of politics we expect is on the ballot. How we conduct ourselves in public life is on the ballot. How we treat other people is on the ballot.
There it is. That's Obama. That is, or should I say Barack? Okay. We're doing live casts, so I should say to the camera, Barack H. Obama. We are taking your calls here at 818-985-5735. That's 818-985-KPFK. Speed round. We're going to try to get to as many of y'all all as possible, as quickly as possible. So let me see. First up, let's start with Val calling from Los Angeles. Val, welcome to the show. 30 seconds or less. What's the dealio?
Thank you, Jerry. So here's my wish,